saws, wood, cut wood. Today on In the Wood Yard, we're gonna take saws, we're gonna make little pieces of wood out of them. We're gonna cut rounds out of this pile. It is the afternoon. This morning it was very nice, and today it warmed up a lot. It's like 80 degrees, but it's extremely windy, as you can see. Trees are blowing. It's supposed to stay windy, so it'll be pretty nice. So it's a good day to cut, which is pretty much every day, I think. So this pile of oak here, I got about not quite half of it cut and split and in the bin. Yesterday it rained, as you can see here. We got puddles, and there's the elevator back there, and you can see the pile of wood that's in there. There's 2.5 loads of oak in that bin, and I know I can fit probably 3 or 4 more, so I'm gonna put the rest of this in there. But first I'm gonna cut. So today my plan is cut until I drop. Well, or until I feel like I'm tired. I would love to get it all done, but the chances of that happen are slim, because it's later in the afternoon already here. So if I can get 3 tanks done, that'd be good. 4 would be awesome. And that's probably about a 4 or 5 tank pile from what I can see, because these are 16 footers. These are not little 8s. These are good sized ones, as you can see here. And the other day I cleaned up, as you can see. I got rid of all the sawdust, I hauled that back, and it finally quit raining last night, and it's a beautiful day today. So cutting's happening right now. think I was going to get done. It took about 4 tanks, maybe a little more than that. We had about 4.5 tanks because 2 of the saws I ran dry twice, and then the other one probably half a tank, so about 4.5 tanks. And it's nice and windy, even though it's like 82 degrees. It's so breezy that it feels good, so I'll show you the pile. So there it is. I threw the rounds out of the way as I was going so that I could work into the pile, and got it done. So that's probably, I don't know, 4.5 full cords, maybe, something like that. Maybe 5, could be 5, I don't know. It's a bunch of wood. And I got the other stuff in the bin already, so that was 3.5 tanks. This is about 4.5 tanks, so all total about 8 tanks on this pile that was here. And then some of the wood from that load is up on the top there, just probably like about, I don't know, might be 15 logs up there. So the rest of them were here, and this was all the green stuff cut from live green trees. It's an area they're logging off, I guess. And there was like 2 sticks of maple in here, soft maple, some white oak, but mostly red oak. And some of it I could see must have had the start of oak wilt, because you could tell by looking at it, the bark was coming off probably before it was even logged. So stuff that was going to die anyway, more than likely. But there it is. Felt good to get the pile done, so I ran the 592 and 2 of the 572s. There they are. I prefer the 592 when you're cutting in a pile. I like cutting faster. 572s are very nice also, just like 372, very good saws. Or if you're a steel guy, 462, great saws. Echo 7310, they all cut. My favorite saw is the one that is sharp and running really good. And mine are running really good and they are sharp. I sharpened twice, pretty much 1 tank, and I will sharpen. I think at one saw I cut about 1.5 tanks, but I could tell it was getting dull, so I shut it off and sharpened. But there's the pile. So tomorrow, when you come back at 5:30 a.m., because I'll be here waiting for you, you better show up, we're gonna split this. I'm sure it's gonna be 2 loads in the trailer, probably 3. I'm just guessing, probably 3 loads. So we're gonna get it split and get this cleaned up, and then I got a good start on my piles here, and pretty soon I'll be able to get the processor in here. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to get this pile done, is that it was kind of in the way here, because I want more operating space for when I do have the processor here. And when you're cutting a pile like that, there's a lot of people, especially if you're in Europe, I think if they see you with your 1 foot off the ground on a log, you go to jail immediately for life or something. I'm used to climbing on the pile. I don't mind it at all. You just got to watch what you're doing. There's little things that the more you do it, the easier it gets. I don't know how to explain it, but you just figure it out. If you don't have good balance, you shouldn't be doing it. If you don't know how to cut, if you haven't cut a lot in a pile, you shouldn't be doing it. Mainly you got to watch for, I got pinched twice, so you probably saw me cut myself out. The pile will settle down on itself when you're cutting. If you don't pull out soon enough, you're gonna get pinched. So it happens. So that's why I always like having 3 saws. Plus I like giving them a break. So you watch when you're cutting in, you can come in between logs. Let's see if I can explain it this way. So when you come into logs, say you want to cut this bottom one, you don't start up here. You kind of stick your bar like right in here, like you're going to do a bore cut, then go in and then cut down. You got to watch for kickbacks, obviously. Kickback is something, getting pinched is something, logs falling down, and not just logs, but the rounds rolling down. I had one land on my foot, and I thought it was going to land on my steel toe, landed on the side of my foot, and it kind of hurt a little bit. So you got to watch that. You got to watch the logs rolling down. If you start to see them moving, I just back up and let them fall. Sometimes you can kind of put your foot up and just kind of slow it down with your foot. Sometimes I use the saw to kind of push away so that it doesn't get me. Because I always gravity wants to win all the time, and it's always trying to bite you. So you got to watch that. But it feels good to cut that much again. I haven't cut that much in a pile in quite a while, so it was a good day. It's a good day to cut. So I'll see you tomorrow morning, 5:30 a.m. We're going to do some splitting. Good night, everyone.